That's when you have problems. Is when you see a small child driving a vehicle.
Well, I did for the longest time. His name was Matt, and he's my brother.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were the small child that drove the vehicle.
Small child.
I let my kids drive.
Yeah. I can cut that out of the podcast. We started recording already. I think if you do it on your lawn, it's fine.
Yeah, it was in Mexico, so it doesn't.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's amazing how that.
in Mexico.
It's amazing how Mexico is. That can solve all the problems. And people are so open about it too. Like you on Facebook groups, like, oh, we're going to Mexico tonight. It's like you live in Canada. Oh, that Woodbridge, Mexico.
Yeah.
Highway 7, Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah, that's like anything, right? Here, I'll pull that back.
I bought a fishing hook.
What'd you get?
There you go.
What in the world is that?
Yeah.
That would be a tie strap for a box.
It's a tie strap, so that can go in the garbage.
Strap.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing a good job. Keep
Good
it
shop
up.
head. Make a pile of everything you find.
Keep it up. Keep cleaning.
Yeah,
Are you?
I only collected metal, so.
Okay.
Oh man.
It's gonna be a scrapper.
Yeah. Hey man, I do it. Scrap's crap right now though. My neighbors hate it. Well, they love it when they have to get rid of a refrigerator. They hate it when they have to look at my front lawn.
They don't realize that
All the class, eh?
Yeah. Oh man.
All the class.
Oh yeah. It's great. Skokie, you can get away with that. You can just do whatever you want. Nobody really cares. Oh man. So how long you been in this building now?
In here since February.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh, so like
This year.
Okay, not like
No,
February today.
It's been about
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've definitely been here before.
Yeah, it's been about a
Yeah,
year now at this
flashlight.
location. What?
Can I use a flashlight?
You know where it is?
Nope.
No?
Yeah,
Alex will help you find it.
There you go. 'Cause you
Yeah,
got-
here we were on the other side of Oakville for 7.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were, what was it, a Mazda dealership that you were out of the back of, or?
I did work at a Mazda dealership for 2 years.
Yeah.
That was Oakville,
That
and
was
yeah,
where I met you.
I started on tractor trailers way back in the day.
Oh, really? I didn't know you
Yeah.
had your large. Oh shit.
Yeah, I've got both licenses now.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you
for-
picked like the smallest vehicle that everybody likes.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm done working on
Like-
like giant international,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna work on
That
tiny
big-
cars.
Yeah, I worked on big, heavy pieces of crap, and now I work on the smallest things possible.
What do you prefer? Smaller things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an enthusiast market, right?
Yeah.
Trucks,
They're-
you know,
I've
you don't get enthusiastic about trucks, right?
I do.
Not when you drive them for a living, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're terrible, you know.
Yeah.
They're heavy, they're dirty.
It's funny because like I've been through so many different car communities from stuff I've owned and all my friends own, and the Miata people are so like selective. Like it's a community I've never seen before because there's this mix of like a whole bunch of old people and then a whole bunch of really weird young people.
Oh yeah.
And it's all
yeah.
so.
Well, it's typically people without the kids, right? Without the kid scene, right? Because
that's a
once
good
you
point.
get into
You
kids,
gotta have back seat.
right, you got to have something more practical. And don't get me wrong, we do have our clients who have kids, and they're making it practical. You know,
Yeah.
they have their other cars, right? But you know, at some point, you know, you say, I'm never driving this car because if I have kids, I can't bring them along. So it becomes like a, you know,
Yeah, it's a moot point. Like you can't do anything with the car at that point.
right. It just sits in the garage and it just, you know, collects dust or moss or whatever. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And eventually they go, why don't I just sell it? But then they all regret it. No
Yeah,
matter
they'll come
what.
back.
Every single person who sells a Miata just regrets it so much. Like that guy Mike, he's got a G35 out there.
Yeah.
He was wickedly fast at a Miata. Would go to the BMW autocrosses, just clean up house, right?
Yeah.
And how he can drive that car every day, I don't know. Because once you get that Miata thing into you and you drive that fun little,
It's
you know, go-kart.
I think it's
Like
the fact that you can push it to its absolute limit on a daily basis.
right, exactly.
Like just the size and the weight, and like it doesn't have a lot of power, but like you can beat the living shit out of it
you
constantly.
could
and it
be
just-
a full out.
yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. Because like,
Yeah.
well, like what's the? I haven't driven any of the V8 ones. Like, is there too much power in those V8 ones, or is it like right on that line? Like, if you're an idiot, yes, there's too much, but if you know what you're doing, it's fine.
It's an easy car to drive. It's super easy to drive. Like I've let a lot of people drive it on track, and they always kind of go into it thinking this thing is going to
It's
be
a monster.
terrible to drive. It's
Yeah.
going to be scary. It's going to be, but it's so predictable and it's so easy to drive. Like honestly, you'd think that it came from a factory or something, and it was and actually some of the factory cars are harder to drive. I mean, you
Yeah.
drive a Dodge Viper and you're terrified the whole time,
It's trying
right?
to
Like
kill you
it.
constantly.
Yeah, it's not a easy car to drive, and like even the way you sit in it, the sight lines, like everything about that car is just very hard to drive. Whereas in the Miata, it's like it just seems natural. Like it's so easy to drive. Don't get me wrong, you could be on the streets, you're exceeding speed limits like crazy,
No.
but but
Allegedly.
right, allegedly.
Yeah.
Only in Mexico,
Only
but
in Mexico.
I would not suggest that kind of
No,
behavior,
no.
but no, but honestly, it's so easy to drive. Like in the corners, it's fully neutral. It's just like driving a Miata with more horsepower. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
but you're right because my wife just got a 2009 Miata and it's completely stock. And I mean, I drive these cars every day, so but I still get in it, and you could just go drifting around corners, be full on the throttle,
Yeah.
and you just have so much fun. And it's
Banging
like
gears, redlining.
right,
Yeah.
and you couldn't do that in say a Camaro or anything like that because
It would kill you.
right, well, your speeds are now so much higher
Yeah.
that you're going to be worried about wiping out, like taking a corner too fast, this and that, and the weight, and you know.
If it was a Mustang, you'd be worried about people.
Well, you get more points for every person you
Yeah,
hit. So.
yeah. And I think as they go up in age too, the points get.
That's
it's like a
where
multiplier, right?
Yeah, it's a good bang for buck.
So, crowd, full crowds of 5 times multiplier. Because the weight
And they have warranty on that now, right? So
do they people
yeah.
protection?
Yeah, if you hit people, they fully cover it under warranty.
Oh
So. Ford's pretty good about that, right?
They had to eventually because there's always people like I can't buy it. And I like running over people. I can't buy this car. You can't.
So many of them in red now.
Yeah, just hides the blood.
I think
hides the blood.
Ford is coming out with a new accessory. They have like a bush bar for the front, right? So it doesn't damage your front end when you
Yeah.
hit people. It's a pretty good idea.
People catch.
It's good marketing on their part, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's like a cattle catcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta find your market and go for it. There's a niche you got. Well, it's like Miata's coming with the hairdryer, right?
Yeah. They come with scissors in the back
Do
now. There's like a little accessory kit for hairdressers.
All that you can fit in that glove box is a pair of clippers.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's right.
It's weird how that works.
That's what it's designed for, yeah.
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 I'm curious.
You can put a scarf around your head and drive with the top down.
Is this the thing you're talking about?
as
Nope.
a washer.
That's a washer.
Well, I still found something.
Okay.
It took a long time.
Make a pile of metal for us,
There
okay?
you go.
I am. I already found 4 of those little tiny things with red paper on.
Oh, the valve course?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a chat with Chris about it. You should just leave those.
No comment.
I
They
found
get,
4 of
they get
those.
stuck in shoes.
No comment.
Keep fishing.
Oh man. Yeah, because there's not a huge weight difference between the V8 and the V8 swap. It's not major.
It adds 200 pounds to the car, and that's distributed evenly across the
so
whole car.
keeps
So
it really-
it's the same as adding like a 200-pound passenger, right, to
Yeah.
your car, right? So a lot of people ask about that if you need to change out the suspension and the brakes and this and that. And
It's probably a good idea, but it's not necessary.
no, it depends on what you're going to do with the car. If it's just a street car, you actually don't even need to change out the suspension or anything
Unless
because
you're
if
gonna do
you
it here and then you need to do it. Like unless somebody else is going, yeah.
If you come to Dave's garage,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
got to
do it.
happen.
But no, but you don't have to. I mean, it adds 200 pounds, which realistically, you put one person in your car and you got 200 pounds right there. So, yeah, because it still retains that 50-50 weight distribution. It's
Yeah, and that's
perfect,
really
right?
what they're known for.
yeah,
Is
you don't want
is
to
that
ruin the
balance.
handling. Yeah, like the old 5 liters, they used to ruin the handling because it was too much mass up front. And yeah, people that drove those cars, like some of the Mazda engineers who designed the Miata, had a
Yeah.
chance to drive the 5 liters back in the day, and they did not say good things about it.
So did
right?
Mazda actually plan on making a 5-liter engine for it?
No,
Or it was just people
no,
are swapping.
Right, people
Okay.
were swapping them in California as soon as the car came out, way back in 1990.
Because at that time, Ford and Mazda still kind of did shit together.
Oh
right?
yeah, and I'm sure they're still related nowadays, right? But
Yeah, I think
they still share platforms and everything,
Mazda
right?
2, Fiesta.
Well, even the new engines, right?
Yeah.
Like the new Ford EcoBoost and everything is just the derivative of the old 2-liter MZR and Duratec engines, right? So,
Yeah, I did a swap with somebody in what was it, Mazda 3, and he bought a Ford engine. He goes, we were looking at it. I'm like, it's got to be some differences, and like there was like 3 parts we had to swap.
Right,
like a valve
right,
cover,
right.
a couple other things, and it was nothing major.
Yeah. It's just the evolution of that engine, right?
Yeah. Well, and like everybody doing the Ecotec swaps too, right? That's another. What? No opinion on that. No opinion on that. 'Cause there's so many swaps.
Is
you
this
can-
microphone on?
Yeah. There's so many swaps that you can do with the Miata that they make kits for, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
There's K24 kits.
Yeah.
Did anybody make a 5-liter kit for it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously the LS, because
Yep.
you can do LS1,
Yep.
LS7, LSX.
Yeah, you could put pretty much any LS. I mean, the LS1, LS6, LS2, LS3 is very easy.
Yeah.
Once you start going LS7, the heads are taller, so you run into
Uh,
hood fitment issues.
screw
But
it.
if you're willing to do a custom hood or something, you
Yeah.
could always do that.
Big
The
reverse column.
LS9 with the supercharger, again, that's a height issue. Also, the LS7 has the dry sump oil pan,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So there's, you got packaging issues with that, but
Yeah.
um,
Because I
and
I
then
thought I
yeah,
saw.
you got J series Honda engine swaps, right? The JV6,
Yep.
which is like 3.2 to 3.5 liter. That's very popular in the States right now because the engines are cheap, right?
And and the emission stuff too, right? Like they've
Yep.
got to be a little more tidy with it. Thankfully, where
Yep.
I live, there's no emissions. You can do whatever the
Yeah.
fuck you want.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think I
If
think
we
I
didn't
shouldn't
have
talk
to,
about it too much.
yeah,
I think they forgot that they did that. They're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, like
yeah,
one day they're just gonna be like, oh shit, Severn
yeah.
Bridge North. We completely forgot.
Yeah,
that
it's
part of the
surprising they
country.
haven't said all of Ontario right now.
Yeah.
Because to them it doesn't make any difference, right?
Well, there's just
And
nobody up
plus
there.
the shops could make a lot of money off it. So,
Yeah, it's kind of a
you know.
cash grab, in my opinion. But
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's not about the environment. It's not about being green, that's for sure.
yeah,
You want to turn that off?
yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
about it.
We can turn it off.
Good white noise. So let's put
Yeah.
everybody to sleep halfway through the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, it's like, oh, what is it? I was when I did the one with Steve from Money Gang. I can't remember what it was, but like his fucking roommate upstairs started like jumping around, and he's like yelling. Like we like paused the podcast. He's like, what the fuck? Or whenever I do anything up by myself, like I've got a dog, and he'll sleep all day, and then as soon as he sees the microphone come up, he's like, oh, I'm gonna run around the house and act like an asshole every single time. Or he'll start like eating. Like you haven't eaten all day. It'll be 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll be dead silent in the house. And I'm like, okay, I get the podcast going, get all my show notes going, and my dog's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, okay, I'm just gonna eat, and then I'm gonna walk back and forth a whole bunch, and then I'm gonna lick your microphone a couple of times, and then I'm gonna go back to bed.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's what happens.
That makes sense.
Anytime you try and do something. Oh man. Yeah, so the LS swaps seem to be like the go-to for affordability and everything else.
I mean, they're not the cheapest out there, right? I mean, the K series is really gaining a lot of traction in the States. Like,
Yeah,
it's becoming very popular.
I met a guy at Grid Life, and that's all he does. Like that's his life is building.
Really?
Is building case. I wish I remembered his name. Really nice guy.
Is he from K Miata?
Yeah, I think he owns K Miata.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Right?
Yeah. I can't remember the guy's name. I
Yeah.
feel like a dick.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to see him again this
And
year.
in California, I mean, it's a huge, huge build thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
guys are just jumping all over it because you can save weight. You can have 300, 500 horse, whatever you want,
Mhm.
depending on how much you want to spend.
And those K engines, there's a lot of aftermarket support to them.
Oh,
and
it's
they're cheap.
huge.
And,
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. But up here, the problem is transporting everything, right? And I mean, buying in Canadian dollars to US dollars. And
yeah.
once you get everything up here, and now you're looking at building an engine because you don't want just a stock K series,
No.
right? So you're going to do bolt ons. So the price really adds up. I mean, once you start, adding and adding and adding, then you start going, well,
That's any car build, though.
oh, it
That's
is.
just a
Absolutely.
hobby. Yeah,
Absolutely.
hobby problem.
Like, there was one of our clients in the other day, and he said, how much would it cost to swap an engine in? And I said, why don't we do a J Series swap?
Yeah.
Because that'll get you like 260 horsepower, V6, plenty of torque, great
Yeah.
sound, good packaging. He said, how much? And I said, you're at about $9,000. And he almost fell on the floor, right? But that's the cost of modifying cars,
Yeah,
right?
people forget, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
anytime you're pulling an engine out, everything has to get disconnected. And depending on the
Yeah.
car, like if you're lucky, it can come out of the top.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I see it. Anything
But
that
it's
gotta
it's
come out
not
of the
even
bottom.
just so much that labor. It's more of you're dealing with aftermarket parts. They don't always fit 100%. You're sitting there
No.
modifying,
No.
We're not talking about big corporations here, right?
Oh, no.
We don't have a team of engineers,
Yeah.
And so, it's a lot of extra time, and the wiring takes days, and
Yeah. Wiring.
yeah. If you want everything to operate like a factory car, well,
Yeah. As soon as you say you want air conditioning still, that's when it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, all right, never
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Your price just doubled.
Well, we just got that finished off on the V8, right? Like Alex took that over, right? And how long did that take, right?
Yeah, I got put a decent week.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it
Yeah.
was just engineering the electric.
Yeah, right. It's sitting down and figuring out the wiring harnesses that are going to be required in both cars, like
And that's just literally
See-
so you can have AC while you're at CSCS.
That's right.
It's like, I'll take the second off my laptop to make sure.
Oh,
I'm
I don't
comfortable.
know about that. We're
You
not
guys-
gonna give up a second.
You guys
oh.
get competitive, man. I couldn't believe it because like really.
I'm
hanging
not
out-
willing to give up a
No, I
second.
know.
Eric.
You guys are barely willing to give up anything.
We're at tenths of a second
I
most of
know.
the time,
I've never. It was like that one culture I hadn't been around yet. Is like,
Yeah.
I've been around competitive lapping guys, like guys doing like global
Yeah.
time attack and stuff, and I get it there. And then I got in with like, well, just hanging out with you guys over the summer and being
Yeah.
like, these are hobby lappers, and you guys are like, well, maybe if I do this, I just change the PSI in the tire a little bit because I think I'm losing it here. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, but I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you put a lot of time and money into it. You wanna be able to see.
Well,
where
it's
that's going,
that
right?
bug though, right? You get
Yeah.
that competitive bug, right? And it feeds the ego, of course, right? And if you could take home a first place trophy, there's no
Copy.
better feeling, right?
Yeah.
So
Don't build a V8 Miata to go to the racetrack and lose.
well, you don't show up at the racetrack to lose anyway, right?
Yeah.
Regardless
that's a
of
good
what
point.
you're driving, right? So, nobody wants to lose. So,
Big and black.
oh, thanks, man. So of course you want to,
Coffee
want to
order.
win. But yeah, I think in rear-wheel drive, street class is what we had last year, and I think
Yeah.
it was the most competitive group out there because there was a lot of really fast guys out there, considering what their cars are and the builds they are and stuff.
Yeah. And
Like-
CSCS just switched that now because now it's super
Yeah.
street. Because there's
Well, now they have Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group
That's a good
4
idea, though.
type thing, right? And they're trying to get an enthusiast class, so more, not heavily modified cars.
Yeah.
Like I have to get bumped up to Group 2, which is, in my opinion,
still gonna kick some
justified,
ass,
right?
yeah, still gonna kick
Justified, even though they allowed me to run street class, which was a bit ridiculous in the past.
all
But
things considered. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because really, from a newbie looking in, going, well, how am I supposed to compete with these cars, right?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It could be
you know.
discouraging right off the
Right,
bat, right?
right.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays it's like, okay, now we have an enthusiast class. There's not a lot of big modifications you can do, so it'll help bring in new people. Is what they're helping, or is what they're hoping, because the big problem in all sorts of racing is trying to get new people
The
in.
next generation.
Right.
Yeah, the next group of
And
kids.
it's a lot of money, and younger kids nowadays, like a lot of them aren't interested in cars, right? They view
Yeah.
it as anti-green, and they'd rather be on their bicycles and
Bike races, man.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
exciting. Pedal bike races.
Grow a beard,
Yeah.
grow a beard, start vaping and
Beard
jump on
races.
your bicycle, right? So
I couldn't believe that there was a vape contest.
yeah,
Yeah. And
Mhm.
a lot of them. I thought okay, there's one convention in Las Vegas where everybody vapes and they throw O's at each other.
What's the premise? What's the goal of a vape contest?
Have you ever seen
like
Olympic-
rings and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Have you ever seen
Seriously?
do you remember
Blowing
back in
rings?
the 80s when they had skiing, but it was ballet skiing?
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that?
No.
No?
Mhm.
I want to go look at this now.
okay.
If you need to look it up. At one point, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, where it was ballet skiing, where you go down the hill and do spins. That's how I see vape competitions.
Well,
Now-
it's no different than drifting, right? Like how do you
Oh,
judge that?
yeah, here we go.
How do you judge that
This-
subjectively,
This
right?
episode just got twice the view.
Well, it's like
I know.
It's like
No,
it's like ballet. It
I
has to be
agree.
judged,
I agree.
Somehow,
that
right?
That is probably.
and it's not like a goal, which you can easily dictate, right? Oh, this team got across this line, and therefore
this
it's a
speed.
goal, right?
that is probably
you know,
the biggest issue.
It's very subjective, right?
with drifting is the judging, because no
Mm.
matter what it is,
Mhm.
and no matter who's judging, somebody is going to be wrong and someone's going to be pissed off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drifting is
And-
a lot
and-
more of an art.
Right, and there's a lot of politics that go on
Oh,
with
there's
that, right?
tons of it, man.
Oh, this guy just built a whole new car, and it's making 1,000,000 horsepower, so we got to give him credit.
And I'll even say, when you watch Formula Drift, it's now become drag racing that they go kind of sideways. That's really what that is. Everyone's 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
And the guys that are 600
Yeah.
and 700 horsepower just aren't competitive anymore.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it sucks because sometimes they have more skill to do things on the track, but
Right.
because they just can't
Right.
keep up.
And they don't have the budget to build those kind of cars.
Yeah, there's a guy named Forrest Wang, and the guy just technique and skill wise is amazing, but he runs his own shop. He doesn't really have a lot of sponsors. Kind of
Yeah.
outspoken, says stupid
Yeah.
shit. And
He's just
well, he did. He quit halfway through the season at one point because he got T-boned. He was doing what he. It's like a big fucking thing, but anyways, he was.
But that helps, right?
Yeah, he was coming through a corner, and they were saying, this spot you're supposed to be accelerating, and he wasn't accelerating. And the guy chasing him just smashed right into him, T-boned him.
Wow.
And the guy who hit him is Chris Forsberg, who's
Wow,
champion. He's
right,
he's
right.
the guy, right?
Right,
Well,
right.
one of the guys.
Yep.
So And everybody sided with Chris Forsberg, and Forsberg
Right,
was like, no,
right,
I was
right.
getting more angle, and he's trying to drag race through the corner.
Yep.
And then the judge is like, well, we told you this is supposed to be an acceleration point. And then he's like, are you fucking... And he actually quit. Like, he finished the event, put up on Instagram, made this big scene, like, I'm quitting. And then...
Threw his helmet.
Oh, yeah, essentially.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
He
right?
Donald Trump, like, Twitter. He's just like, yeah, all this stuff. And then, I don't know what happened. There's a bunch of theories. Some people say that, like, the guy who runs Formula Drift talked to him. Probably it was the sponsors that were like, if you fucking quit now, we're going to sue the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably what happened.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, then he comes back, and it was funny because he qualified first overall all of a sudden in the next event. He hadn't qualified first overall at any other event. And then the next event that he comes back from his fucking 2-week hiatus.
So what do you think went on?
I really don't know. I don't know. But you know what? That being said, his first run, I would say, was a top 5 run. Whether it was the best run, I don't know. I think they might have been like, okay, we want to keep him happy.
Right.
Like you said, there's a lot of politics.
And in every sport you have those people, right?
Oh, for sure. And you even get that with...
And it helps their media and publicity so much, right?
Well, any type of racing, it used to be win on Sunday, sell on Monday. It's not. It's tweet on Sunday or Instagram on Sunday, sell on Monday now.
Right.
Some of the best guys, Formula Drift is such a good example of it. Like Ryan Turk, people who aren't even into drifting know who this guy is. And like the last 2 seasons have been just a complete wash for him. But he's got killer sponsors. He's got companies like Gummit.
Do you know what happened with Danny George? Is he doing pretty good? Or?
So Danny's coming back. He's going to run Formula 2 this year. Funny story. He actually made a stretch Miata. I don't know if you saw that.
I've seen that. The limo Miata. He bought it,
Miata,
right?
Yeah. So he's
right on.
he's coming back and doing Formula Drift 2, I think, this year. But he's driving a BMW.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, another guy went from Miata to BMW.
Oh,
So,
too bad.
yeah, I know. It's not. Pardon? Yeah.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Miata people always come back. They always miss it.
Always come.
They'll go buy a Mustang or Camaro or a BMW, and then they always come back.
Yeah.
I have to go fix.
Or a what? C60. Yeah. I was like protege guys. They all went to either Civic SIs or WRXs. Like that was the next.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, are you selling that? 'Cause I'm looking for another drift car.
I am way too
Yes, he is. How much would you like to offer?
I'm selling the Protege.
No interest, buddy.
How much would you like to
You know
offer?
what? You know what I'd love to do? Just because I loved that car so much for no reason. There really isn't a great reason to love a Protege. But in Europe, they had an all-wheel drive model.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called.
The GTXs.
Yeah.
You mean
but
the 323s?
Yeah.
No. I'm talking like 2002. Like Protege 5 had an all-wheel drive model.
Protege
in
5.
In like Russia and stuff.
Really?
Now apparently the drive lines are glass. Absolute glass.
Oh yeah, because the stock Protege driveline is glass.
Yeah, I know. But what? You want to go
There's
above?
a reason why they call it a G25 transmission. G stands for glass.
Yes.
And second and fifth are the only gears that last.
Well, I don't think they ever intended it to go near a track, right? So.
You know what though? They were a decent track car though. If I can kind of decent.
I had a ton of fun with it.
I love my P5.
I had a ton of fun with it because it had no purpose being on a racetrack at all.
No.
And beating people with it was absolutely amazing.
It had some good suspension things that like kind of made it a decent car. And if you could get an FSDE engine with a decent turbo on it and a good tune, you could make 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
And as long as you had an LSD.
Transmission wouldn't take it though. Transmission didn't take stock horsepower.
It's a good idea.
No. And then you get guys like Brian MP5T. I know everybody hated that guy, but I got along with him really well. And he just went overboard and got straight cut gears, like custom made, with like a super extra tall fifth.
Well, that was the thing. It's like that's the reason why I got out of the Protege and into the RX-8 because
Have you heard about Eurocharge?
There's a company in Australia that makes them, actually advertises them.
Yeah.
But it's like $10,000 to $15,000 just to get them here. Like for 17, I can get a car that was purpose built for the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how much you want to offer on that RX-8?
Sale.
It's absolutely
You don't have
for
to.
sale.
All you gotta
Everything is for
do
sale.
you have another
I
car
like
to
it more
drive?
every time I
I
drive.
have.
Do you have another car to drive?
If you count the Protege, I have 3, but right now it's my only mobile one.
Okay, so perfect. So here's what we do. We keep this. This is still your car, but I race it.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a
I
good
assume
idea.
None of the risk. I mean, you assume all the risk.
I don't see the
mean,
benefits.
I see no benefit. It
I
is
thought you
my
were
job.
drifting a Cummins Miata this year.
No. The Cummins Miata looks like it'll be going back to the high school.
Oh yeah.
The guy who won it is about 70 years old, and I told him he won it, and he kind of was like, yeah, whatever. And he was an ex-school teacher. He was an ex-school teacher at
Thanks,
the high
man.
school, and he bought like $150 worth of tickets because he was just donating the money. But he still got tickets. So yeah, he won. I kind of told him, he's like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, no, like we need to do something about this. And you guys know, like there's kind of a big kerfuffle, like what's going to happen. And I just talked to him like, look, this is the best way to go about this: is you give it back to the school, and then they can do with it whatever they want. It continues to be an educational tool. I cut them their big check, so they get the money. Now they're getting the car back. The guy that won it used to be a school teacher at Huntsville High, so it did kind of work out well in the end. But I need to build another car. I need to get something else, and it's got to. I kind of want to build something that's slightly more practical. Because as much as I love that car, it's completely impractical.
Are we putting the words practical and drift car in the same sentence?
They can
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
keep AC. You could just drift that car. All you gotta do is put a giant handbrake in that V8.
Sure, yeah,
Why don't you
dude.
get it out and make an LS swap to RX-8 then?
Because I can't. I physically could not do it. I think I'd get to that point where the engine's about to go into the car, and I would just go into convulsions. My body just wouldn't let me.
Yeah, it's been done too many
I
times.
just
Right?
can't. I can't do things other people have done. Says the guy with an undercut haircut right now.
No comment.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It's all right. I did do something. It was getting bad.
Okay, come and swap it?
No, see the diesels. The diesels are awesome, but
What car are we talking about here?
just building
Anything.
building another drift car. I'm looking at a BMW. I'm actually gonna go look at one as soon as I'm done here.
E30 or E36?
E46. The guy wants like $800 for it, so it's probably just destroyed.
Oh yeah,
But
it's rotten.
I don't. Well, if the body.
You remember what happened with the Miata,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Right? You had a rotten Miata, right?
The body is not
If the body is decent for $800, why you gotta crush my dreams?
No, I want
Well, there's a reason he's
technology.
asking $800.
Yeah, I know.
E46, you need rear subframe bracing now and everything, right? 'Cause
Oh,
they're
yeah.
notorious for tearing out rear subframe.
Yeah.
Oh,
cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first things first, cooling, because apparently that's like the biggest issue with those every single.
What do you
time.
mean, plastic water pumps aren't a good idea?
Motor out of it?
Huh? No. I just mean like apparently a lot of it actually has to do with the physical design of the front end. That just the ducting doesn't work that well, especially for drifting, because the way the shrouds are. That as soon as you start going sideways, there's just no airflow whatsoever, which is a common drifting problem, but
Right.
especially
Kind of on
Exaggerated
anything,
by the
right?
fact that the openings are so small.
Yeah, it'd be like
Unidirectional.
the Passat. You remember the Volkswagen Passat with no grill in the front? That just like you would drive it on a day that was above 30 degrees and it would just immediately overheat.
What was
What's
that?
that sound? It sounds expensive.
Every car
Just
guy's
every
like,
car, yeah.
what was that
There are
sound?
people listening to the podcast right now like, it sounds like
It's a VR6.
Yeah. Is it good?
I'm praying it's my Evo.
Actually, that does sound like your Evo.
Why is it making that noise?
Can I drive your Evo?
Ding, 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 ding.
I think I'm owed to driving his
Yeah?
Evo as well. 'cause
I brought my
it's already
GoPros
my
with
RX-8.
me.
Rock GoPros. Let's go drift the Evo.
It is not a good drift car.
Yes, it is.
Allegedly. Allegedly. You need to put
Unless
allegedly.
there's
Anytime
something
you say anything
specific.
incriminating, it's gotta be allegedly.
I've never done that, of course, but you know.
Right now, it's not a good drift car.
Yeah, I built an LS1 Miata for my one client, Tim, who decided to take it out drifting and immediately was calling me on the phone the next weekend telling me I didn't build it properly. And I said, why not? And he said, well, I'm here at the drift event and it keeps getting up in temperature. And I said, is it getting any airflow? Well, I don't know.
It's going sideways.
I
It's
don't
not getting
know.
airflow.
I said, well, take the bumper off. How about that? And then there was no problem.
Well, they
So
just posted a picture of it still in one piece, so that makes me happy.
I know. Right? The Evo, you
The
mean,
Evo,
right?
yeah. The Evo. Yeah, you know, yeah. Mexico.
Oh, now there's a picture of it with a tow truck in front. What the?
That was a picture of just the back end.
Oh, the police
only
are
the
there
back
too.
end.
There's a couple cruisers there. Yeah.
Oh, man. Gotta love loaning cars out to just people.
Especially younger people.
Yeah, yeah. No comment.
Well, at least you gave it to him with an almost blown clutch.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mind you, that also means you have an increased risk of getting it back with a fully blown clutch.
There you go.
Time to do a clutch now.
Yay.
Honestly, on those tires, it's hard to push that car on the winters.
Yeah.
Like the tires become the weakest link in that whole car.
It's still
By
That's
far.
that's the best part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I drove it, it still had the studs in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Studded tires, allegedly?
It came from Quebec.
Oh.
So it's a
legit.
Toronto car
Yeah.
that was sold at Markham, and then taken back in, and then they sold it to Saint Croix in Quebec City,
Wow.
transferred it out there, and then I flew out to Saint Croix and brought the Toronto car back to Toronto.
There's a lot of work for an Evo.
Finding a clean Evo is not easy.
Fair
These
enough.
guys watched me. It was 2 months of me looking every day. And then if I found one with low Ks and the right price, I would call and it would be gone like the day it got posted or the next day.
I figured it was an impulsive buy. I'm not gonna lie. Like as
No.
soon as I saw it, I was like, he just saw it and he
should
bought it.
have been more impulsive.
Oh,
It was too prolonged in my opinion.
Yeah, we had to listen to it every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Oh, I let that one get by. Have you called him yet? Have you called him yet? Have you called him yet?
It wasn't you guys being like, so you buy an Evo yet? You buy an Evo yet? You buy an Evo yet?
I do show.
Have you called him yet? Have you called him yet? Did you give him your credit card?
My RX-8 was an impulse buy, and it was the best impulse buy ever. I don't care what
You're the only person who's ever bought an RX-8 that says that it was a great impulse
I
buy.
love it.
Just
I
so you
love
know.
it.
I like that car more.
But that's
every time I drive it.
also
Right?
in a big part that's because it's a Gen 2.
He also went from a Pro to
Gen 1s are so bad.
Yeah.
They're
Motor
so
problems,
bad.
Transmission problems.
We just tried to get one started here that a lady hadn't started in a couple weeks.
Just know what happened.
And I at that point, I figured, who knows if this engine's even any good,
Yeah.
right? So we got Alex cranking it, and I'm at the front unloading a full can of ether into the intake, right? The whole can.
Oh man,
And then it still barely started up.
that's funny.
But it did start. And then it ran.
Well, it had two options. It either started
Right.
or it blew right there.
Right. And what's the
Yeah.
difference? With a rotary, it's hardly any difference. What's the difference? 1 horsepower?
I'm gonna have
You
him
know?
on more often. He's just gonna piss. It's not like he's like pissing off one person.
Fine.
No, I know.
This is Gen 1 RX-8. This is a Series
I
1
know.
RX-8.
Well, 'cause-
Series 2 RX-8 motor is actually completely different.
I heard as well as just through the grapevine, but like apparently you have to warm it up. Like this is with the Gen 1. That
Oh, you have
warm-
to.
You had to warm them
Before
up.
you shut it off, yeah.
You should be mixing 2-stroke oil
That's
in the
right.
fuel,
That's right. You should be pre-mixing.
and you have to let them idle down.
And you have to take your cat off because you're pre-mixing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yep.
And someone said that, what was the
Yep.
other one? If you shut it down, you need to wait 5 minutes before you turn it on again, or else like they just won't hot start.
They don't like to hold start.
They won't warm start. If you stall them, forget it. If you don't change your plugs, forget it.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you shut it off
If you don't
with a
change
full
plugs at
forget
like 60,000 kilometers, even less than that, well, usually that's at the same time you're replacing the engine anyway, so it doesn't matter
This is
really.
the part where I go back
Right.
in the podcast and I quote the part where you say, "It's the best impulse buy I ever had. You can't hot start it. You
No,
can't
this
cold
is
start
Series
it."
1.
That's all
Series
Series
one.
1.
Yeah.
Series 1, yeah.
If you go to
Okay.
Series 2,
The engine was actually completely different. The lubrication system was totally different.
I did not know that.
The oil injection system was totally different.
Yeah.
The actual housings on the engine, like the only thing that's the same is the sandwich plates.
Yeah.
Probably the 2 rotors and eccentric shaft. Everything else is totally different. It's an electronically metered oil system now.
Yeah.
There's 3 oil injectors instead of 2 because the big problem with the Series 1s was the middle of the rotor
Sure.
weren't getting lubricated.
Oh, okay.
Because there were oil injectors on either side.
Yeah.
Now they've added a 3rd one in the middle. So they're basically shoving more oil into it for you.
Yeah.
Literally, that's exactly
Literally,
what
yeah,
they're doing.
yeah.
So
A third
that's why
more.
you don't have to premix. And
you don't
plus,
even have to change your oil.
Yeah, if you inject
The engine just
It
does it.
for you.
it just burns the road anyway.
Empties it out.
It's
Just
like water
constantly-
meth injection. A little light comes on, you go get some more. Oh, what do I get today? Quicker state. All right.
You probably go through like a liter every 1 to 2,000 kilometers, depending on how hard you drive.
Oh my god.
I drive mine like
I did not know that.
Well, one of the guys from Formula Drift last year when we were at that event at Urtefa,
Yeah.
one of the Formula Drift organizers,
Yeah.
I started batching rotaries to somebody, and he said, "What are you talking about? Rotary's like the most reliable engine
Oh my
out
God.
there." And I was just like, my
Oh.
eyes just got wide, and I went, "Really? Tell me why." And he went on for a good hour telling me how if you constantly drive a wide open throttle, it is the most reliable engine ever. And I'm like, "Wow, you're like drinking the Kool-Aid here, aren't you?"
That's crazy.
Right?
How red was like your face from watching? Like your stomach must have hurt. It
No,
was
but
a
this
full
guy
ab
was in
workout.
such denial that he actually believed this, right?
Well,
So
well-
hey, once you're, you convince yourself of anything, right?
Yeah. Well, we
It's
were
like
talking about
Hegelian dialectic here, like no matter what, right? All right then.
it. Well, all right.
Okay.
That's what helps you
Do you
sleep at
believe
night.
that? There's no talking you out of this, right?
It's probably the most reliable that he's had.
Yeah.
No, he said in drifting and everything. It's
not.
like the
Mad-
most reliable
Mad
engine
Mike
out there.
Wadet's a great
Like
example of that.
what?
Mad Mike Wadette, one
Yeah.
of the only guys that runs.
1,000 horsepower, like
yeah.
4-rotor.
Yeah.
Apex seals
And
are
how
many
much-
motors has he been through over the
I'm
years?
not sure, but
Like 2 a season, 3 a season, 4 a season.
And how much does that engine cost?
well,
Like,
I didn't realize this.
I'm
Mad
sorry,
Mike-
that's why LS is always
Here
the
we
answer,
go.
okay?
Oh, God.
right.
Okay, prove me wrong.
No, I can't.
Right?
He's really good. This Kool-Aid's really good right now.
I tracked the hell out of my car for 2 years solid, never had a single issue. Knock on wood,
There's-
right?
Just if I could afford it, I'd get one.
As I said, it's LS and 2J are like the engines. It just depends on
Except for the
section.
transmission.
That's what it's like to see if they're
Well, yeah, the Getrag for the 2J is amazing. You just have to take a loan out on your house to afford one.
well, you're metal.
If you can find one.
If you can find a Getrag. They stopped. There was when they stopped producing them. There was a guy who actually just went and bought like the last 6. He's just sitting on them.
Oh, yeah.
Just waiting for them
yeah.
to go up in price.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy's retirement
Yeah.
fund.
Well,
His-
same
his
with the
kids
F
won't have to
body.
work.
The F body T56s, right?
Yes.
They were shutting down production.
Yeah.
V8 Roadsters, who I purchased most of my parts
Yeah,
from
we-
for the
They did
swap.
a bunch of stuff with the Miata too.
They happen to have 3 or 4 of them sitting there, brand new in the box. They
Jeez.
contacted me and said, "Do you want any of these?" So right away, I bought 2 of them, and I said, "Oh, absolutely." And they were like $3,000 US, I think, at the time, brand new, full factory warranty. That's a screaming deal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I had a client come in who was planning to build a V8 Miata, and I said, "Dude, honestly, you need to buy this. Like, you don't understand how rare this is." And he thought I was out of my mind, asking like
opportunity
$3,000 US for a transmission.
That's,
But
that's actually a really good deal.
yeah,
It's a really good deal.
for brand new with GM factory warranty, you know. Now, of course, like me and Chris discussed, there is really no factory warranty, but you know, hey, whatever. You get the illusion of factory warranty. So
I'm gonna go get another tool to get them.
okay.
Warranty. Warranty. Did you drive it, sir? Well, yeah, we can't warranty.
It's
Sorry,
like
man.
it's like Subaru warranty. It's kind of just like a myth, right? It's like the the unicorn rainbow, you know?
When we find this thing, Alex,
Have
What are
you
you looking for?
have you watched Tommy Boy? The movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley?
Oh, I
I
love
don't think
that.
so.
There's a scene where like he's in a
I can tell you the quality of a steak by putting my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
exactly. There's one where he's with the guy and he's like trying to sell him oil filters, and the guy's like, "But there's no guarantee on the box." He's like, "I won't buy it unless there's a guarantee on the box." And he goes, "Look, if you want the guarantee fairy to come in and fucking put a guarantee on," and he goes off about the whole. That's exactly how I feel about just warranties in general. Like, if you want to feel better because you think you have a warranty, then
Right.
fucking go ahead.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
Right.
anything you're about to do to that car that would destroy it enough that you would need the warranty has now voided the warranty.
Oh
so
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, factory stock cars.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen tons of
Oh, yeah.
dealers turn down a warranty.
Well, I bought the C63.
Yeah.
Bought a brand new one. But before I bought it, I started researching on the internet. Are these good cars? What's the problems with them? What's the common issues? And discovered that the early ones had head bolts that would start to stretch.
lovely.
And this is when they were brand new. So
Yeah.
I don't know what year they came out, 08, 09, something like that. And so in the States, they had a number of owners, doctors, lawyers, those kind of guys that bought the C63 who ran into this problem. They would start to see their coolant get low, and then they would bring it into the dealer. And the dealer would say, "Yeah, you blew a head gasket." And they said, "Well, these are low mileage cars. How is this happening?" And then they discovered that the head bolts were stretching. And so they went to Mercedes for warranty, and Mercedes said it's not our fault. And they denied all warranty. And they were looking at 40,000 US
yeah
per engine,
to do that.
right, to replace with a new engine. And so they launched a class action lawsuit against Mercedes.
Wow.
And Mercedes stepped up and said, "Okay, we'll cover it. We'll pay half, you pay half." So the owners were now still on the hook for $20,000, putting in an engine that they had done no upgrades to. So
Yeah.
you knew that eventually you were going to run into this issue again. And this just went on and on and on, right?
Even better, the R63, that crappy minivan that Mercedes built.
Oh, yeah.
Same
Yeah.
motor, right?
Yeah.
But unattainable to get at it in the front end.
But the sleeves, the piston sleeves, right? The liners
Yep.
were made of some different material, and it started like almost corroding.
Yep.
Because I asked a Mercedes specialist about those because I was thinking about buying one, because you see them in the used market for like 12 grand, 15 grand. You go, wow, like for essentially a minivan made by Mercedes, and you go, what an incredible deal, right?
Except if you blow that motor, guess what Mercedes quotes you to fix it? $65,000.
Oh yeah.
So there's a guy in the
Oh, yeah.
States right now who
Yeah.
actually, instead of going to Mercedes after they quoted him that, put a hoist in his garage, bought a hoist,
Yeah.
put it on the hoist, and went about. There's a huge photo spread and story about him slowly rebuilding his own R63 because it's actually cheaper to build a whole shop in your garage. Living in that Mercedes.
Even though I didn't go to work for a year, you know, it's still cheaper, you know.
It's only making 40,000 a year. You
Yeah.
got 10,000 for the hoist. You saved
Exactly.
10 grand.
I
So.
feel like
Exactly.
this person A did not make 40,000 a year, and B did not have to be at work to make money.
No.
Right.
No.
Right. Well, if you're buying an R60 or whatever the hell, R63 in the first place,
You never know.
huh?
You might have inherited it.
Yeah.
No, he was
Which
saying
was
he
essentially
thought it was a great deal, right?
Good looking cars.
Yeah, and then
R63.
Yeah, if you don't mind the fact
No,
that
Have you
C63.
have you lost your vision? Have you gotten your vision checked recently or what?
It's that glaucoma thing, right?
It's basically a Chrysler Pacifica with a different body on it, right?
to drive a Pacifica with an unreliable V8 engine.
a big horsepower unreliable.
See, that's the part that gets me. Is the big horsepower. As soon as you say that, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay.
500 horsepower in a minivan, you know, in a crossover.
That's actually
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
Just buy a Pacifica.
Yeah.
You'll hate yourself
Yeah.
less. But you'll still hate yourself.
Chrysler's never been known
drifters
to
just hate
build, you know.
themselves in general. They're like the redheaded stepchild.
That's not true. Chrysler V8s.
Yeah.
Good.
Chrysler V8
Oh, if it's a
great.
truck,
Yeah.
probably, right?
No, even 300Cs.
Yeah.
All of them, they've been deadly reliable, right?
Yeah.
The
That's a good
Hemi's great motor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wiring, you know.
That thing got hammy.
You know what? Yeah. I agree.
Wiring, you know, leaves something to be desired.
They
You
have
know.
cheaped out on their wiring supply.
I mean, we're talking about, you know, technology stemming down from Fiat, you know, so.
Yeah, so there's, okay, I gotta talk to somebody about this. So
When Fiat is the benchmark, you know, then we have a
Yeah.
problem, right?
how is it Fiat Chrysler is not in the same boat as Volkswagen right now? 'Cause
Meaning what?
they got busted with the same Dieselgate issue.
Oh,
But like,
Now it's old news.
it's whatever.
but no one's talking about
But
it.
it's
and, like,
whatever the media decides,
I
right?
know, but it's like I haven't seen the stats, but I'm assuming it's as many numbers of units
What?
or more,
Now I got it.
and everyone's just like, yeah, whatever already happened. Somebody already did it.
Yeah,
Simpsons
well,
did
it's
it.
social psychology is all it is.
Yeah.
When one person does it, the first person to do it, it's mind blowing. How could you do this to us? Why? You know, and then just one.
But I don't
particular
understand
person-
even in that whole situation, like what difference it makes to the average person. Like what difference does it make that your car was polluting a little
Killing the
more?
environment, man.
Right. Like cars don't kill the environment, right?
Yeah.
Like this is all green, right?
Pardon?
I want to know where the fines that they paid, that money, where it actually went to.
Yeah, but they
I
just
don't
went back to
know.
their
For government.
taxpayers, right?
Germany right now is like, we're building another racetrack.
Yeah.
Volkswagen screwed up. Build another racetrack. Autobahn just got 10 kilometers longer.
Let's make the earth green. Yeah, sure.
Oh man. We planted 6 trees for Volkswagen, and now we're building another racetrack.
Let's go buy an electric car. It's sad though, because we were at the auto show and you see so much electric and hybrid and all this, and it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of sad to see what the automotive world's going to.
Well, at one point in time, there was a bunch of people sitting around like we are currently drinking whiskey or scotch and saying, I can't believe they're doing internal combustion.
Oh,
like
yeah.
steam so much
Oh
better."
yeah, yeah. Well, they had electric cars and steam cars back in the day too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched a tractor pull video of like a steam tractor doing it. It was awesome.
Really?
I was like, I
eh?
can't build a steam engine. Now.
steam
I just
engine.
jump on things as soon as I
You're
see
like
it.
Jay Leno now,
Oh,
eh?
yeah, right. With
Oh,
like
yeah.
none of the money. None of the money.
He's just a big kid with a lot of money. That's
Yeah,
all,
that's
you know?
that's a car enthusiast who actually got
Yeah.
everything he wanted.
Yeah.
That's exactly like.
Yeah.
Because you see him, and like, other than his cars, he just doesn't give a shit. Because he's like walks around, and he's got like Denim Dan everything, the worst haircut
Dan.
ever.
Yes.
And he's like, hey, yeah, I got all these
big-
cars. I got it's like
With
6
a big
garages.
fucking chin.
He's
Yeah.
got a full staff of people just looking after his cars.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He still likes the Miata.
It's the dream.
Still loves the Miata.
Yeah.
Oh, it comes back to Miata. What is it? What was the acronym for Miata?
Best car, you know, under $5,000.
When in doubt,
Miata.
Miata? No.
Oh,
Yeah,
Miata is always the answer.
Miata is always the answer.
It is.
That's it.
See, and LS is always the answer.
Oh.
So we just merged the best of both worlds, you see?
LS Miata.
It is a wicked car. Like seeing you rip that thing around at CSCS, I was
Well,
like,
seeing a good driver rip it around is more impressive, you see? Seeing me
Still
rip it
waiting- I'm still
around,
waiting for
yeah,
that, yeah.
you know, that's not so good. But,
you have
you
a
know,
good time.
put it in the hands of a good driver, and then,
Yeah.
we do what we can.
Yeah.
That's all.
I have fun, right? I don't know. It'd be interesting. Like I'm sure there. I'm trying to rack my brain for like a better engine to put in it. And all I want to say is 2J.
TJ.
Just to
Why
be that
2J?
guy.
Why not 1J?
Yeah, they're
They're dirt cheap now, and there's very little difference between the two except the massive price difference.
They did that back in the day. The Japanese had it
Yeah.
way back, even when the Miata first came out. They already had 2Js in it.
yeah.
B20 in one today.
Yeah,
RB20?
RB26. They've done that way back. That was like 91. They put an RB26 in there. The Japanese are so crazy. They'll just rip it all apart right away.
Well, like we were saying, that the Jeep Cherokee drift, like it's just,
Oh yeah.
it looked wicked, man. You got to see it. That thing looked badass.
Take an SRT Jeep Cherokee or something and make it into a drift car.
Yeah.
You're gonna be working on that thing 24/7.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fat pig for drifting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not like a diesel Miata, that's lightweight,
There
you
we
know.
It had a purpose. All right?
That purpose was to mow the lawn.
Well, if you started it
Oh, I
in
know.
gear,
Oh, I know.
I think that one was to
it was actually a self-driving vehicle because if you started it when it was in gear, it would actually self-motivate, right?
Almost pushed it straight through.
almost,
Brand new BMW.
almost went into a BMW show car
Oh,
with
man.
who knows how much invested into it.
That was the worst. So, I'm assuming anybody actually listening to this podcast has no idea what we're talking about. So, it was like after we actually got the drivetrain working, it was at Urtifa, or or however you pronounce it.
Erdafa.
And I'd been like starting it for people and taking people. I took I took Chris out for rides, took a whole bunch of people out for rides. So someone wanted to hear it. So I'd always like check to make sure it was in neutral because there's no neutral safety switch, obviously. There's no clutch safety switch. There's no safety anything. And I went and started it. And as I was starting it, I hit it into gear. And the starter is so big that it just like, okay, we're started now and we're moving. And it just took off. And it ran over my foot. And I like was dragging myself beside it before
With
I finally...
about 10 people hanging off the car.
Like, one guy jumped in front of it, and I just looked at him like, you're the biggest idiot here today. Because this thing doesn't care that you're there, and it's not going to stop. And I stopped it like...
It's not going to do.
I stopped it like 3 or 4 feet in front of a brand new BMW. And if it would have hit it, it would have still kept going, or just started spinning the wheels.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it just
It would have been ugly.
did not... Oh, I know.
Right into the JRP booth.
Eventually would have hit Riley Sexsmith's drift car. Like, it just... We would have been over at the Formula Drift Demo Center before the day was over.
Yeah, you would have been famous after that. You would have been famous.
Infamous.
Imagine the media.
Infamous.
Oh,
famous, whatever.
imagine the media. Oh, buddy.
I would have had to like give up my life and become a cam girl after my fame disappeared. Still want to be famous.
Cam girl.
Oh man,
This is how I'm getting away.
that's how I'm getting to LA. They told me I could be a star.
If I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. You just got to be dedicated.
Yeah.
You show me somebody that'll pay for this, and I'll get on there.
We're going to start selling soiled underwear from now on. In a vending machine.
Yeah, there's a market for it, man. Rule 34 of the internet. If you can think of it, there's porn of it. Yeah.
Rule 63 also says that both genders are applied to anything you see on the internet. So dirty underwear, typically being female underwear, there's going to be one for dudes underwear.
I feel like the market's not nearly as big. And it'd be
But there
selective.
is a market.
There is a market for it, yeah.
I think you're discounting the gay market.
Maybe. But I think I'm discounting it based solely on what I look like. Like, I don't think I'm marketable yet. I got some
We can
time.
market you. We can market you.
If I have to, if I'm gonna have to learn,
We'll take you down to church on a Saturday night. We'll
yeah, now we're
market
talking. Now we're talking. Hey, if I can supplement my income and build a stupid drift car, there's a lot of things I would do
To
for
give
that.
some background,
Oh, dude.
Chris was traumatized by church street a long time ago.
Yes. Before it was more socially acceptable. Before it was in the
He
media
wasn't-
more.
He was more
Rotary,
traumatized
buddy.
by church streets occupants, not physically, mentally, hopefully, because if he was traumatized physically, this would be a completely.
He does walk with a bit of a limp.
I'm hoping it's not.
What are you talking about?
Church Street.
Chris's
Chris on Church Street?
escapades. Yeah.
Oh shit, this podcast is going downhill now. Oh shit. Church and Wesley all day.
Chris just like, shit, we're recording.
No wonder he's working at a
I'm
Miata
comfortable.
shop, you know?
Needed to sit here and participate. It was going downhill since then.
Oh man. No, it's alright.
I'm comfortable.
We are working in a Miata shop after all
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's an inherent amount of homosexuality just blocking in the door.
I don't know about homosexuality, but homosexual energy.
There you go. Homosexual energy. Oh man, you cut it with a very expensive handcrafted artisan knife.
But Trump is building a wall soon, so we're not sure which way that's gonna happen, right?
Say Trump. I
You
think I
know?
said it before already though.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I pay no attention.
I'm kind of excited to see what it does with the car industry because of all like the sanctions and stuff he's putting on. Like it doesn't really affect me, but I can't wait to go down to Grid Life because last year when we went down, we went to Michigan, which is the area we were in was like surprisingly liberal. So everyone's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Hillary and all this stuff. And then we went to Atlanta in August, and oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Like you hear about like all these like, yeah, pro-Trump. No man, it was like everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
broad brush there. Like there's obviously a few
Make
people that
America
would.
great again.
Man, it was like
Oh
people
yeah,
talking
you
about,
can't
like,
believe that.
You're gonna come back next year. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
different place. This is gonna be a great place to live. Once Obama is out of here, this is gonna be amazing. The conversations I had were just outstanding. And now
I neither want nor need health care.
I don't need it.
I've never seen a dentist in my life.
Hey, look, all three of my teeth are doing just fine.
As long as this one still opens cans, I am set. Like, so now I get to go back. I get to go to Michigan, where it's primarily liberal, and they're all going to be like, oh, this whole country's going downhill.
Yeah.
And I get to go to Atlanta, where it's just going to be a party. Like, you just say Trump, and everyone is going to start drinking. So I'm incredibly excited.
Rumpland.
If things go the way that they're going, and he's all about making America great again, i.e., bringing it back to its past self, regressing the country as it were. Maybe that steam-powered drift car isn't such a bad idea after all.
Because gas is going to be so expensive.
Right? No.
We're gonna need some way to get around, right?
Past, we may as well bring back steam engines
Yeah.
too.
Hey man, I know how to make.
America was great in the steam industry.
It's a
I'm
good
just
point.
gonna build a DeLorean time machine and go back in time.
That
How
might
about
be the most actual, like, legitimate thing to do. That might be, yeah. I can
Where-
make charcoal.
Where
Like, I
we're
watch YouTube
going,
videos,
we
not
don't
on
need
video.
roads.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing. Wonder how many people off-roading have quoted that. It's like every time they're like, they just whisper to themselves, just like just about to get on train, but like, where we're going, we don't need roads.
I did that.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I took my girlfriend off-roading in the Jeep for the first time.
And you said
She's
it?
like, "Where are we going? There's no road here." And I'm like, "Where we're going, we don't need roads."
It's one of those things, like, same thing, like, back to 2Js. You open the hood of a Subaru and you're like, 2JZ, no shit. Like, you just have to say it.
Every time.
You have to say it.
Pop the hood.
Oh, there's those quotes you just need to say.
Pop
Because if
the
you
hood.
don't, you'll explode.
Still owe me a 10-second car.
See? See, it just happens.
One of the roads near my mother's place was closed, and I pulled up to it right alongside a Domino's delivery.
No!
Road's closed,
I
pizza
rolled
boy.
down my window. My street's closed. Pizza boy, we gotta find another way home. Oh my god. Oh. He was an older guy. He had no idea what I was
The
doing.
excitement on your face. Seeing that, though. Like,
Oh
okay,
my God.
what is your favorite car quote that just, like, it just comes up. You just have to use it. Like, you know what I mean? Where we're going, we don't need roads. I remember when I went.
That's how Chris kind of drives on track, you know? You just sit next to him and go, where we're
We
going.
refer to it as 12/10.
We don't need asphalt. Where we're going, we're going to meet light poles.
We refer to it as 12/10.
I think he prefers the Jacques Villeneuve. If you're not crashing, you're not driving hard enough.
That's
There you
right.
go.
That's right.
That's a good mentality.
If everything's in control,
I've heard that.
Slow.
I've heard that from a lot of racers. Like, if you aren't willing to completely destroy your car and lose your life, you'll
That's
never
right.
get the best laps.
it's true.
Well, we tell it to guys
true.
all the time who come in and want to like go out and like sort of casually track a car and race it, because there's a difference between lapping and racing.
That's the
right?
first hit of heroin, though.
Yeah.
That's it. That's that first time the guy's like, "Hey man, you want to
Yeah.
try some racing?
Like,
It's gonna ruin your life."
to damage
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't.
bring it on the track.
No.
Yeah, I just read an article about that, and they were saying that's why Spec Miata is so popular, because it's basically the cheapest way to get in,
Yeah.
and if you write off the car, you just don't care.
Do you
right?
read other news other than Miata news, or is it just
No.
like, no?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
I'm Miata-centric, right?
Yeah.
Nothing else interests me, because everything else is not as good. Miata is always the answer.
I'm calling a bit of BS on that.
I do research other cars, but
Miata's in politics.
for $1, right?
Yeah.
$1 for fun, right?
How did
The
you?
fun return, you'll never get it.
No, mini
Right?
4-wheelers. You buy them for like $200.
I
It's
know.
the most fun
He
for
was-
$1 you've ever
Yorkie
had.
was sitting on one at the motorcycle show yesterday, a little 50
Yeah.
ATV. He loved it. So
We-
yeah,
we
we,
bought
should
like-
get with.
We bought like one of those 10
Oh, I
horse
agree.
pocket 4-wheelers. Actually, I can't say we. It was my buddies who bought it, and we just beat the fuck
Oh
out of it.
yeah.
Just, like,
Oh yeah.
We'll take it out and just mangle it.
But I'm talking about what you could drive on
Yeah,
the road,
yeah.
you know? So, there's a difference. I mean, every other car I look at, and it's either way too expensive. I mean, just take a walk through the auto show, and you just go, okay, we're looking at a Grand Cherokee for how much? $70,000 nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like, are people really buying these
Yeah,
things?
someone has to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's enough
right.
of a market for it.
You know, how much is a GT? You know, Ford GT. What was it? The 350 we were looking
Yeah.
at. How much was that? $80,000. And that doesn't even come with the bush bar, right? So how are you supposed to mow down people,
It
right?
only comes in blue.
Like,
Yeah,
right.
you, get, oh,
You
sorry,
need
get the
blood red if
Yeah,
you're gonna get that car,
For
right?
the same
So
amount of money, you can get that Ram 3500 dually.
yeah,
No problem with the
dually, yeah.
Oh man,
There you
you
go.
wouldn't even notice.
Yeah,
Wouldn't even feel
yeah,
it.
right. And then you can make money as a hitman, right? So
Yeah, there
you
you
know.
go. Be the easiest hit job ever. Be
You
like,
know?
hang on, honey, I'm almost here. Yeah, I'll be home. Who's that thud? I'm here.
I don't know. The price of cars has just gotten retarded. Like in my opinion,
Yeah.
pricing of cars is just ridiculous. And what you see on a return, and to be honest, a lot of them aren't reliable, and that's a problem, right?
Well, yeah, 4-year reliability built into everything now.
Like especially like German cars. Don't get me wrong, I love driving German cars, but owning them, maintaining them, it's just
Yeah.
you start to see a big lack of quality, right? So
Yeah, don't. Yeah, I drive a 2013 Fiesta, so don't talk to me about lack of quality. Oh,
Fiesta.
oh my god.
I heard the ST's good though, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. They just took all their money. Like, we're gonna build the ST. It's like, still need a base model. Okay, take everything reliable off of it and replace it with plastic, and we'll sell for $18,000.
Yeah, it's a good price. There you go.
We don't have enough time for me to go through a list
For all
of
the
everything that's
all the
broken.
reliability.
The only thing I can't
Well,
complain
you
about.
did buy the Kia Rio of Ford, right?
Right? I got what I paid for it. It's gonna be paid off next year.
You could have got a used Kia for about $500, but instead you bought a Ford.
I think it'll be the last time I buy a new car.
When your car payments are equivalent to what I spend on Tim Hortons in a month.
$288 a month, man. So yeah,
Right.
probably pretty close.
Hey, you could have got an F-150 for $210 a month, right?
No, I got a company vehicle. I just don't have to pay for it. Took some dignity, but I got it. No, my stepdad put it the best. He goes, look, if you can buy a car that you're not putting a car payment's worth into every month,
Oh yeah,
you're,
for
you're
sure.
doing better.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Absolutely.
the problem was I had kids on the way, and I wanted something decently reliable because at the time all I had was my protege, which means I'd have to take out my stereo system to put a car seat in, and I was just not willing to do that at the
But
time.
instead, you bought a Fiesta.
I bought a Fiesta, and it
Yeah.
seemed great at the time. And then the only benefit is like I can put $40 in and get 800 kilometers if you drive it right. Like we can drive that car, put $40 in, drive it to Windsor and back from Muskoka.
Oh, yeah.
In the same tank.
Oh yeah.
If you drive it
There you
right,
go.
which is
There you
105.
go. We got a good meme there, right? You know,
When
that
people
says...
ask me if I'm ever gonna buy a new car, yeah.
And everybody's laughing their head off.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
never buy a new car.
I
I'd much rather watch them hit their 2-year depreciation
Oh,
first,
yeah. Oh yeah.
then purchase the car.
Well, and then you can read up on them, see if they're reliable. It's
You
like
get on
my
the
friend who
forums,
bought the new Alfa Romeo 4C.
Oh
and
yeah.
and honestly, to drive, if you go out for an hour driving that car, you'll come back just wow, like just mind blown. Like it is honestly, like out of all the cars I've driven, and I drive a lot, like it is mind blowing how good that car is.
Really good.
But you always have that question: is this thing
It's
going
an
to be
Alfa.
anywhere as reliable? Because it's Italian, so who knows,
And then the
right?
radio falls into your
Yeah, the radio falls off, plastic starts wearing out.
Jeremy Clarkson
You
put it
know.
the best, man. You're not a true petrol head until you've owned an Alfa. And I think that's true just because it's that experience of
But
like,
you're also not a manic depressive
That's
until
good,
you
yeah.
own it,
But
right?
it's that
Like,
waking up every morning going,
like,
am I going to get to where I
why
need
do you
to
want
go
to do
today?
that to yourself, right?
It looks stunning,
You know?
but I'm not going to make it.
Now I cut myself every morning, you know, like,
on the Alfa Romeo.
I still don't.
like
On
why
the
do you want to
door
do
sill.
this to yourself?
Ah!
Catline!
I thought it would be garbage when we first saw it because it's
Yeah,
Alpha on it.
you
and,
figure
like,
it's a Lotus or
I played
something.
with a
You
couple
know?
of Pinaforinos back in the day, right? The Spiders and stuff, and they were terrible cars.
Yeah.
And we got in it, and it was like stunning. Like the
Mhm.
drive in it was stunning. And then we went out for track day last year with another couple of buddies of ours from Pinnacle, and they had an X-Siege track pack, turbo, like modified Lotus,
Yeah.
and we thought the Lotus would crush it, and it was lapping faster than the Lotus stock.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
like several seconds faster on the course on stock tires, stock everything. And I love
Yeah.
a Lotus, like I love them, but you just see apples to apples, and
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference in build quality. I mean, the Alpha is actually feels good.
Solid.
Yeah, solid,
Yeah.
substantial. Nothing rattles. Nothing like they actually put a good amount of engineering into the steering feel, the suspension, like everything. Like it's unbelievable that they can offer that at about 65,000 to start.
That's a good point.
Like that's without options. Don't get me wrong. You start adding options, you're up to about 90 grand
Things just start
very
falling
easily.
off.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at
Is it worth
65
that?
to start,
Is it worth 90? No.
Nope.
Is it worth 65?
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you drive a Lotus, really, everything rattles, everything, like the steering feels terrible, the shifter feels terrible, the brakes, the handling, the ride, like,
And I looked at buying a used Exige this year,
Yeah.
and like even like mid 2000s,
Yeah.
65,000
Yeah.
starts.
Really?
still, in Canada,
Still?
they're still demanding
You can't,
big
you can't
prices.
import them, so
Yeah.
Jeez.
there's
With
none
a-
here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you could
nobody gets
do-
rid of them.
You could do a workaround to get one imported, but
We know
it's going to be a lot of work.
There's people at body shops that.
Well, I mean,
I
you
know
could
some
import it in pieces and kind of go the kit car route, right?
Yeah.
But there's ways around it because I looked at that years and years ago when they first started coming out, and up here they were demanding 60 to 70,000, and in the States, once they depreciated, they were looking at 30,000. So you think, well, for the difference of $30,000,
Yeah.
there's a way around it. I mean, I talked to a lawyer who got a Ariel Atom registered for the street, right? So there's always ways, right? It's just a matter of whether you're willing to do it. And to be
Pay for
honest,
it.
I rented a Lotus in Vegas for a day with the full intent that I was going to buy one of these.
Yeah.
And after driving it for a day, I said, no way. I could not put up with this car.
Hmm.
Like, there's no build quality at all. It's like as if somebody really, realistically made this in their backyard.
Well,
That's-
it's a kit car, basically.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a kit car. And if you want to run fast lap times on a track, oh, it's great, right?
But
But
it's
if you
easier
actually
ways-
want to drive it on the
You
street,
could put an
it's
Ellison and Miata and do
horrible.
the same thing.
It's horrible. But that Alpha, man, incredible. Incredible. But then you got to worry about it's Italian, so the Italians are good at building things that look beautiful.
Yeah.
No different than a Ducati or a Lamborghini or Ferrari. But when it comes time to do maintenance and reliability, they're just not there, right?
It's funny how their cars are like they're women.
It is.
Beautiful to look at, but
Very,
on
yeah.
one.
That's right. That's right. Very high maintenance, right? High maintenance,
I didn't mean
right?
old. You know what I
You know?
meant.
You know?
Yeah.
Luckily, with the, luckily when it comes to, if you get married to your car, they don't start to get, 300 pounds. So,
No, they just start falling apart.
That's right.
It's like
They
a
fall
Maserati,
apart.
right?
It's like it's crying all the time.
2 years in, the door handles are falling off, and the chrome's falling
Yeah.
off, and the motor still sounds great, but every light on the dash is on. Like, no, I'm okay, thanks though. Thanks though.
Like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Feels like you're driving a
I was
Volkswagen.
just gonna say that.
It actually makes the Volkswagen look really reliable.
It's when the lights it's when the lights turn off in the Volkswagen, and you're like,
Oh
oh.
no!
Oh, the engine light
burned
just
out.
the engine light just went off.
The bulb
Interesting,
burned out.
right? We were working on a Porsche, and they actually have a code that comes up when you plug in your scan tool if the check engine light burns out, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
There's a bulb
that's how.
check for their bulb check.
Yeah. Yeah, they put a check in place for that, right? Because they know it's constantly going to be on because
Yeah.
it's German, right? So
That's so crazy.
I'm a big believer in Japanese. So,
Clearly.
if you want something reliable, something that's going to last a long time, you don't have to put a ton of money into. You don't buy a Fiesta, Like that's the thing,
Mazda
right?
2, I just
No, it's not.
well,
Is the Fiesta a Mazda 2 or is the Mazda 2 a Fiesta?
well, see,
Right.
I did some research.
Is that Japanese or North American,
All
right?
of the parts that break on the Fiesta are Ford parts.
That's
Oh, yeah.
all Ford
Oh, yeah.
parts.
Well, no,
Yeah.
like the actual Mazda 2s don't have the same issues that these Fiestas do. It's literally the parts that Ford had put in, like the engine and that stupid transmission, like that automatic double clutch. I'm on my third transmission. Third transmission.
Is it a true double clutch transmission?
So from my understanding, what they did is they took two 3-speed transmissions, mated them together with a double clutch system, and it's a manual transmission that's completely run by actuators and servos. So there is a
So it's not an
shifter,
automatic,
but-
right?
Well, it is an automatic in the fact that I don't
Right,
have a
right.
clutch or a stick shift.
But it's not
a
fluid
manual-
drive,
But
right?
it's a manual transmission. The
Yeah.
issue is that the servos or actuators, I'm screwing this up. There's some geek right now just losing
Oh, yeah.
his mind.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't account for clutch slip or clutch wear. So it assumes that this is where the clutch is, this is where the clutch will always be. So after you
never
drive
gonna
it for
slip,
like
eh?
40,000 K, it starts coming out a little bit, and then it goes, well, this is the engagement point, so it just lets go. And then you go, wham! In the middle of an intersection. And then, I'm serious, you look like the biggest idiot ever, and you're sitting there, you're like, hurry no stick shift. There's no clutch. And then it cracks the clutch plate a little bit. And then it keeps doing it. And then just the clutch explodes. And you're driving one day and it goes, and you're not going anywhere. And you're like, oh, that's really weird. And it just reeks of burning clutch.
And how much does that cost?
Nothing. They're still under warranty, and you get
But how much would it cost?
It's like $9,000-$10,000 to get it done.
Wow.
But the issue is they all happened at once because everybody's driving them all at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
So they all happened at once.
Yeah.
They didn't realize it was a problem. They hadn't built
way.
a manual to repair it yet. They hadn't built the tools to repair it yet.
But nobody tested this ever before, right?
Well, nobody
We're just going to release this beta test car on the market.
I think it was like,
you guys are up to, you guys can test it for us.
Yeah.
Here you
Well,
go.
I think they drove it like 35,000 K, and they're like, yeah, it's working. And then it's like, no, it happens at 40. So, like, that's how I feel. But I had that happen. The key that they built for it is so crappy. Like, it's just an alloy, and it snapped off. The actual key. Like,
we haven't come along this far in technology that we can build a reliable key.
It's a white metal key. Like, it's terrible. So we snapped the key off in it. So what did I do? I called the locksmith, and he looks at me and goes, oh, it's a Fiesta. Yeah, I can't do anything. Literally what he said. He walked up, he goes, oh, it's a Fiesta? Yeah, sorry. And I'm like, this is what you specialize in. He's like, yeah, I know, but you should have told me it's a Fiesta.
So
like,
he
me?
deals with this on a daily basis.
Yeah, like this has been a recurring thing. So I had to drill out my ignition.
Wow.
And then I called Ford to be like, I need to order a new ignition. And they're like, we don't have them yet. Like,
you can't drive your car.
No. So because my wife drives it, right? So what her key is currently is actually a 3/8 spade bit that has been JB welded and zip tied to the original key head because it's got the sensor in it.
America. America.
I think you ask anyone in the industry and they'll tell you, like, American truck, sure. American car, God no.
But my buddy Simon's driving that, what the hell is that thing? That big Ford sedan? Fusion? Is it a Fusion?
Yeah.
And he got it as a company car. And at the same time, I bought my Ford F-150, and we fully expected nothing but problems. But with my truck, the leases were starting at $200 a month. Yeah. So I went, who cares?
Yeah,
I drop it off, right? It's under warranty. He got this company car. He's got more mileage than me, and I've got 75,000 kilometers. So he's probably at 80, 85,000.
Yeah.
And since it's a company car,
doesn't care.
He drives it like he's in Mexico every day, right? And it's turbocharged 4-cylinder, I guess, right? 2.4 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Probably a 2.3.
2.3, whatever it is, right? He drives the living crap out of it, and he has had not one single issue.
That's because that's a Mazda motor.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's the joint.
It's
It's the joint motor, right? That they built ages ago, right? But we fully expected that we were going to have nothing but problems.
The engine in the Fiesta is fine, but it's literally everything that's got FOMOCO on it is what's broken. Like the radio. Yeah. Same thing. We were driving one day and it started going. I was like, oh, I need a new auxiliary cable. And then I turn on the radio and it's going. I'm like, okay, so let's put it in a CD. I'm like, okay. And then we're like, okay, so we'll just turn it off.
Quality.
We turn it off.
Quality is job one.
Oh, man. Turn it off. We're coming back from Windsor, and all of a sudden it just goes, boom! And I was like, the radio is off, and it explodes.
Sir, were you using the radio?
Were you racing your radio, sir?
Dude, and I'm like...
There's no warranty now.
And I almost put the car in the ditch because I was so freaked out. I thought I just blew the engine. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, we can get a new one now. And the radio just, and smoke starts coming out of the back. And I'm like, all right. So I called Ford, and I'm like, I need a new radio. And they go, yeah, we don't have any yet. This exact
I'm starting to see a trend.
Yeah.
All of these issues.
We don't have anything.
We don't stock those
40,000.
We don't have anything.
All of the issues.
We have brake pads. You need some brake pads?
Oh, funny story about that. That was just a Ford dealership problem, but
don't take your Ford anywhere else. They won't know how to service this fine.
I took it to Ford.
Beware of parts unknown.
I took it to Ford, and they told me they told my wife because my wife took it, and they said to her, it's metal on metal right now. Your brake pads are grinding into your rotors. You need new brake pads. You need new rotors. This is a brand new car. You need new calipers. Calipers are seized because they overheated because metal on metal. So they refused to release the car from their shop because they said it was unsafe. So I had 2 keys. So what do? I just go and steal it. Right?
They actually can't refuse.
Yeah, they can't refuse anymore.
Well, this is what they're telling her, right? They're telling
because they want to get the job.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they quoted her $720 to do all the work. I go and steal the car. I take it to my work, which has a massive garage in it. I take off the wheels. I had already ordered brake pads as soon as they told me, and I'm like, I can always get the rotors redone. Like I can always get them surfaced, right? So I was like, I'll just throw cheap pads on it for now just to see what it is. I take them off. There's 20% pad life still on it. They're not even at the wear bars yet. I took all of them in to Ford in my hands. It was like the biggest fit of rage. And I just like laid them down. I'm like, can I talk to your service department? And she's like, for what? I'm like, just do it, like, please. And the guy comes out and I just went off. And I'm like, you talk to my wife. Like, and the guy's like, well, you know, it's showing signs like there were some markings on the rotors. I'm like, yeah, from brake pads. Like, it wasn't. Where did you get metal on metal? He goes, well, those weren't the words I was using. I'm like, oh, hang on. And I brought out the quote that had metal on metal. Oh man, it was brutal. So we've had a bunch of problems. The second time the clutch pack got redone in it, there was a rattle in the front end, and the horn wouldn't work. I couldn't figure out what it was. Somebody had left their clip pliers in my front bumper, and they had severed the horn cables. So I'm trying to figure out why the horn doesn't work. I see that the horn cable is snapped. There's a bunch of other, like the headlight tabs are broken, a whole bunch of shit. And I'm trying to find this rattle. I see the horn's disconnected. I look down, and there's clip pliers sitting in the front of the bumper, right where the wheel, like where the wheel liner is. Yeah. So thankfully,
best I've had like that. We did a full set of brakes for a friend of ours. Maybe a month before. She was a high mileage driver, Toyota or Honda CRV, and she stops into the dealer while she's out of town to get an oil change. And sure enough, they pull the same thing. Your brake pads are so far gone that it's dangerous to drive. We won't give you the car back. So she calls me up and says, what the heck's going on? We just replaced the brakes a month ago, right? Just put the nice man on the phone. Put the nice man on the phone. Yeah. Those are a month old. Did you even look at them? No, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Give her the keys back. Never again. Yeah. Never again.
Either you give her the car back or I'm calling the cops.
No, I'll just be coming down there.
Yeah. I didn't realize they couldn't actually do that.
No, it's your property.
They used to be able to actually. They could actually put a mechanic safety lien on the car and not release it to you if it wasn't fit for the road. But then, you know, that ended up conflicting with some theft laws there.
Yeah.
You can put a financial lien on a car.
Yeah.
But not
if they owe you money. But if you do the work and then they don't pay you, they can do that.
Yeah, but they can actually keep the car in that case.
Yeah.
Because now ownership is up for debate.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if a car is unsafe for the road, you can tell them it's unsafe for the road and suggest that they should have it towed somewhere if they don't want to fix it there. And 99 times out of 100, they'll just drive it anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh man, hang on, I gotta get. There you go. Great shot. I figured I'd catch him loose, you know. By the way, smile. Well, that's been fun. I think we've literally covered every taboo topic.
No, not every. We haven't even gotten near Subaru yet, buddy.
Oh, buddy, we haven't even got immigration.
Wait till we start talking about Subaru. That'll go on for
I
hours.
take a trip to Oakville just every month. next one, those got to involve
We just bash
whiskey.
all the cars.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get one of those like overhead mics and I'll put it right in the middle of the room, and we'll just sit here.
Well, we're thinking about putting a pole in the middle of the room,
That's for a
but
different reason, though.
yeah. We have a nice lounge
That's
going
people,
on here. You
that's
know,
for people to pay off their bills.
that's the after hours lounge. You know.
That's where we pay their bills.
That's why we pay off our bills.
Oh, okay. Oh,
All the bills.
well, how if people want to get in touch with Dave's Miata shop, how would they go? Or Dave's Garage? It's not. I always call it Dave's Miata shop just because that's what. That's what it is. Huh?
We do other things, you know.
We do other things.
We can bash your car if you want to bring it in. No problem.
We'll sit there and make fun of you.
Our phone number is 905-616-4305. You can find us on the internet. Just do a Google search for Dave's Garage and we'll be the first one that come up.
Thank God there's no other Daves with garages out there.
There are.
It's not a common name, eh?
It's not as cool.
Not as common.
Yeah.
And email is miatagarage@gmail.com.
And you got meets coming up soon too, don't you?
Yeah. Each year we have 3 meets, so we'll have our spring, summer, and fall meets. Typically we invite all our Miata customers, and you know, if you got a cool car, you could show up too.
Still make fun of you.
Yeah, we can make fun of you. Yeah, no problem. Well, guys like to make fun of Miata owners, so we're just giving it back, right? You know, it's fair. Yeah, you know. You know, cut your hair and then send you on your way, you know.
And then obviously Burning Rubber Speed Shop, same building.
Yep.
Get a hold of Chris on Facebook.
Yep. You are going to go to burning-rubber.ca We do rims and tires as our specialty as well. We'll be getting alignment services in the next month or so, corner balancing, stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
There's not a lot we won't touch in that regards.
Except for children.
Yeah, well,
Well, we don't get near
disclaimer
that.
that.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't offer
It's not a
day.
pizza shop.
We don't offer daycare
this
services.
is
Right?
a Catholic church, all right?
Oh, there we go. We got into it. We go religious.
Yes.
Oh Lord, it's all gone downhill.
It's the best closing.
If you'd like to talk about the Catholic Church, you can reach Burning Rubber at 647.
You can just PM Chris privately off on Facebook, but
And this, ironically, is coming from an Irish man.
Irish Catholic.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man. Well, I appreciate it.
yeah, we'll have our meet coming up. Our first one's on May 7th. That's a Sunday. We start at around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Typically, we have about 100 Miata show up and lots of cool cars here. We have free food, free drinks for everybody.
Good barbecue.
Photographers, I'm sure Jacob will be doing all the photography for us, so free of charge,
Yeah, something like that. I'll bring some people. You bring the models, I'll bring the people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, alrighty, man. No, I really appreciate it, and I'll make sure to. If you guys want to check out more stuff at Dave's Garage, we will put links in the description and all that fun shit below. And other than that, check out Pistonhead Productions. We're gonna have some a video kind of going with this for the vlog, so you'll get to kind of see what the shop looks like as well. I'll put a link for that. I don't know what'll come first, chicken or the egg, but I'll get my shit done eventually. Anyways, guys, I always suck at ending these, so thank you for listening.